Okay, hello everybody, and happy World Snake Day. Thank you so much for joining in from wherever you are around the world. We are very excited again this year to be hosting another World Snake Day Symposium. Um, so we this will be our second World Snake Day Symposium. And again, we've got some wonderful presentations in store. So this is a quick look at the agenda. Hmm. So for the next 2 hours, we will have a couple of presentations, 15 minutes each. And then at the very end, we will have a Q&A session where you will be allowed to raise your hand, and then I can unmute you. Obviously, the unmute, everybody has been muted, just so that the webinar runs smoothly. Um, I just wanted to remind you about a couple of things. There are several presenters here that are winners of our support grants. And these support grants serve as a way to really support individuals from around the world that are working on snake education and conservation projects. And really, it's our way at Save the Snakes to be able to empower these individuals and give them a space to develop something that can be quite meaningful in the long run. And some of our presenters here are testaments of what a Save the Snakes grant can really do for you. So applications are open till the 31st of August. If you or anyone else you know is interested in applying, please do visit our website and share the opportunity with those individuals. Since 2017, we have been able to support over 40 projects in 20 countries. And it's really, really quite exciting to be able to see these individuals grow, and really just this distribution of the projects around the world. And one of the really cool things that we are able to do is support people in countries that often get neglected, and species that get neglected. We know that funding for snakes can sometimes be really difficult. So we at Save the Snakes want to be able to do whatever we can to support people and projects that focus on snakes. And of course, there's lots of different ways that you can support us. Again, have a look at our website. We just by being here, you guys are supporting us. So thank you again. It's really, really valuable. Um, and and we get people interested in the work that we do from around the world. And there's also only so much that we are able to do. But if you are interested in being able to, in wanting to volunteer with us, please do reach out. There's a couple of cool projects that we are working on, and there's a lot of opportunities for students to gain some skills and hopefully that helps them out in their career along the way. And of course, just a reminder that if you missed last year's webinar, please do visit our YouTube channel. And you can see all the amazing projects that we've supported in the past. We'll have a couple of different projects this year showcased through the presentations. But you'll have the opportunity to see the kind of projects that our grants have been able to support, and just all the different cool snake species that different people are working on. Okay, so I'm going to stop sharing my screen. Start off with a presentation by Warawitu Misuk, all the way from Thailand. Warawitu also wanted me to just mention that a lot of this work has been the culmination of what has come out of the Save the Snakes grant. So Warawitu received a grant from us a couple of years ago, and since then she has been able to gain skills in English, and she's learned English and started doing presentations in English. And it's really incredible to be able to see this kind of growth. So here we go.
สวัสดีค่ะ Good afternoon, everyone. Thank you to have me. My name is Assistant Professor Dr. Warawitu Misu from the Faculty of Science and Technology, Rajamangala University of Technology, Sriwijaya, Thailand. Today, I'd like to share a story called From the Trainees to Trainers, Building a Sustainable Snake Conservation Network in Southern Thailand. This story began in 2025 when Save the Snakes supported our project, training workshop for trainers, enhancing snake knowledge and handling skills. At that time, our goal was simple: to improve snake knowledge, promote safe snake handling, and reduce human-snake conflict in southern Thailand. However, what happened after the workshop was much bigger than we expected. Following the project, I was honored to be appointed as an advisor to the Snake Controller Club and invited to serve as a practical instructor in snake handling workshop in Lopburi province. The project also opened opportunities to work with the military sector. Snake biology, snake bite awareness, and human-snake coexistence were incorporated into the Cobra Gold Jungle Survival Training. I was later invited to teach military medical students about snake biology, venom types, fang marks, clinical signs of envenomation, and snake bite management. This year, 2026, the project expanded further into government and community sectors. Training programs were conducted for rangers at Banglang National Park in Yala Province, focusing on challenging field situations involving snake rescue and reptile management. Additional workshops were organized for Betong Municipality, where participants included teachers, police officers, community volunteers, and local residents. Because Yala province experienced frequent snake encounters, these programs focused on improving both public safety and coexistence with snakes. One of my favorite moments occurring during this workshop: 3 former trainees from the original Save the Snake training returned as assistant trainer. They demonstrated safe snake handling technique and taught first aid for snakebite victims. For me, this was a very special moment. The trainees were no longer just students; they had become trainers. The project also continued at my university. Campus security officers received training in safe snake handling and were provided with snake hook, the containers. Today, many snake encounters on campus can be handled safely by rescue team. In addition, a small university snake rescue network was established, including staff members and personnel from the Faculty of Agriculture who assist with snake rescue and relocation. The project also supported conservation research. I have been collaborating with Assistant Professor Dr. Kurt from Wallaylak University, Thailand, to study the ecology of the beautiful pit viper, Trimeresurus venus dust in southern Thailand. This species is endemic to southern Thailand and is currently classified as vulnerable on the IUCN Red List. Collecting ecological information helps us better understand this species and contributes to future conservation planning. But the most important outcomes were not workshops, they were the people. One trainee told me, after the training, before the training, I handled snake roughly with tongs. I felt sorry for the snakes and I won't do it again. Today, that trainee is teaching others in her rescue organization how to handle snakes safely and soft. Other trainees, there were volunteer rangers who was work with local rescue teams. After completing the workshop, they continue responding to snake rescue calls in their community. They frequently assist with the rescue and relocation of king cobra like this and the large reticulated python, helping both people and snakes remain safe during encounters. Two trainees from Yala province began conduct their own snake handling workshop for local disaster response volunteers. Another trainee, a member of the Royal Thai Army, incorporated snake education and safe handling practices into military jungle survival training. One trainee joined a security organization and has since helped rescue and relocated more than 10 cobras. Many trainees continue rescuing and relocating snakes in their own communities. Together, former trainees have organized more than 10 additional training programs. They have trained local responder, rescue volunteer, military personnel, and community members. Most importantly, they have contributed to the safe rescue and relocation of more than 600 snakes, including king cobras, reticulated pythons, blood pythons, oriental rat snakes, copperhead rat snakes, golden tree snakes, and many others. The most rewarding part is that the impact continues to grow. Some trainees are now training the next generation, and those people are training others. The network continues expanding long after the original project ended. This experience taught me an important lesson. Snake conservation is not only about snakes, it is about people. When people gain knowledge, confidence, and skills, they become advocates for coexistence. By investing local capacity, we create a sustainable conservation network that can continue protecting both people and snakes for many years to come. Thank you. ขอบคุณค่ะ
Wonderful. Thank you so much, Warawitu. What a wonderful presentation. Um, and we are just so excited to see the amazing growth in that project. Okay, so Kamal, you can unmute yourself and you can put your video on. And to our attendees, please feel free to pop in any questions in the Q&A box. Okay, Kamal, whenever you are ready, just let me know when you need the slide to be changed.
Okay. Okay, can I start?
Yes, go for it.
Okay. Hello, Namaste. I'm Kamal Dekota from Nepal, and currently I'm working as a conservation biologist in Save the Life Society, and I'm also the member in Snake Specialist Group and Viper Specialist Group. And I'm feeling very happy and feeling proud that I'm also one of the conservation partners for Save the Snakes. And today I'm going to present in the program Nepal Snake Festival promoting coexistence between human and snakes, which is a large mass awareness programs in Nepal. Next, please. Besides my scientific background, I'm also working as an actor in Nepalese film industry and theater, and I'm trying to make people aware not only through the scientific way, but also using the artistic way like street drama, forum theater, and radio PSA, documentary films, etc. So please, Hiral, whenever I give the pause, you can change the slide automatically, okay?
Okay.
Okay. So in Nepal, there is a huge snake bite problem, and 26 districts of lowland are considered as the affected area from the venomous snake bite, although the snakes are also found in the hilly region. And the WHO 1987 recorded 20,000 total snake bite cases, out of which 1,000 people die annually. But recently, in 2022, Alcoba and his team recorded 3,000 people, the death around 3,000 people, because in 1987 WHO didn't recorded the community-based death, like in the death in the human house or while traveling through one hospital to another. So they all included and estimated that 3,000 people die annually in Nepal, and around 85 to 90 species have been found in Nepal, which is venomous as well as non-venomous. So today my presentation is about the Nepal Snake Festival and how it started. So we celebrate the Nag Panchami festival, where people worship the different species of snakes, especially cobra species, uh, thinking that they have main door, the snake bite can be avoided and rain will be cured, and the productivity of festival Nag Panchami. Next. So we started to celebrate, although the Nag Panchami is from the very ancient period. So we believe that we started to celebrate in a scientific way from 2017. And fortunately, I also got connected with the Save the Snakes in 2017. And from 2018, we are working as a conservation partner. And 2018, 19, 20, up to 2022, we celebrated Nag Panchami, uh, uh, making the people aware. And from 2023, we started a Nepal Snake Festival on the same day, where we celebrate the Nag Panchami. On that day, we started to celebrate Nepal Snake Festival in a huge level. Next, please. So Nepal Snake Festival is initiated to conduct the various awareness program, primarily focusing on snake, human-snake conflict mitigation, and snake conservation. And we have a different collaboration partner to conduct the Nepal Snake Festival. Sometimes we celebrate this on the same day as Nag Panchami, but due to the rainy season and monsoon, it's always hard to conduct the large-scale outdoor program. So sometimes we celebrate the same festival on the International Snakebite Awareness Day, and sometimes in the World Snake Day, and sometimes according to the situation we celebrate in different occasions. The main objective of this program is to promote the coexistence between human and snakes and to educate the people about snake bite mitigation and snake conservation. So please, next. The major attraction of the festival, we divided it into three parts. The first part is before the festival program. The second part is during the festival program. And the third part is after the festival program. So before the festival, uh, these are the pictures. Okay, go, please continue. These are the pictures, a map of Nepal, and we have already conducted Nepal Snake Festival in the 3 provinces of Nepal. We have 7 provinces. Chapter 1, 2, and 3 we have already conducted, and we are planning for the Nepal Snake Festival Chapter 4 in the far eastern part of the Nepal. And whenever things go according to our plan, the next Snake Festival Chapter 5 will be conducted to the far western side so that we can cover all the 7 provinces of Nepal. And it is an annual program, so once a year program. And by inspiring from our program, the local people and local organizers are organizing the small level festival or local level festival in the respective regions. Next, please. So I mentioned that we have 3 phases of program. Before the festival, we have the meeting with various stakeholders, and we conduct the awareness camp in school, and we also train the volunteers for the festival, and we announce competition, and we conducted press release program. During the festival program, there are various categories, which I will further explain in next slide. And after the festival, we again gather the volunteers and we just take the review from them so that we can minimize our some mismanagement in the next chapter of Snake Festival. So the first part of the Snake Festival, we conducted the awareness camp in the 15 schools and colleges. More than 1,000 students participated in our awareness camp. This is before the festival program. Just a month ago, we went to the different schools and we conducted awareness program, giving the message about snake bite, and snake conservation. Next, please. So after training, after conducting the awareness camp, we conducted the volunteers training program, which is based on the selections from those schools where we already conducted our awareness camp. We selected around 50 people, 40 students and 10 teachers from those schools, and we trained them for 2 whole days from 9 a.m. to 5 p.m. And we conveyed all the messages related to snake bite mitigation and snake conservation, and also prepared them to run their own stalls in the Nepal Snake Festival themselves. And they have they have their own stall related to different species of snakes. Next, please. So we trained them all about the snake conservation, snake rescue training, snake handling training, and other aspects of snake and snake conservation. So these are again from the same training for the volunteers. So please, next slide. So we also announced the competition for the song, art, and essay, which all were related to the snake theme. And we announced this competition for those schools where we already conducted awareness camp. So many students participated in this competition. Next, please. So after this program, we conducted the press release program and press conference and poster release program. So we invited many of the local and national level journalists in our press conference, and we are very happy that they all supported us to spread our message through the national and local level newspaper and online newspaper, and many people came to know about our Nepal Snake Festival all over the Nepal. And we also released our poster, which was supported by many organizations, and Save the Snakes is one of those partners. So we released the posters and we distributed this to the journalists as well, and all the students and participants who came to our Nepal Snake Festival. So next, please. While conducted these programs, we were prepared everything, but unfortunately, there was the Gen strike. Actually, we planned the festival for the International Snakebite Awareness Day, and we faced the Gen strike. And as you've seen, 73 people died during the strike, and we decided not to conduct the festival in those situations. The incident happened in 8th September, and our program was scheduled for the 18th and 19th on the occasion of International Snakebite Awareness Day. But our organizing team has decided to postpone because we made these programs for the community people, and community people were not ready to attend any kind of mass awareness or mass related program during this situation. So we postponed it after 2 months, and we conducted this same festival in the November month. Please next. So as you've seen, we just postponed the program for 16th and 17th November, and around 5,500 visitors visited our program in 2 days. Among them, 4,000 were the students and 1,500 plus local people. We have the team of 100 volunteers, 50 from the schools and 50 from all over the Nepal. We gathered the people who are working genuinely to conserve the snakes, and we have invited people from all the 7 provinces, but from one province, the participant or our guests were not able to attend. So the 6 provinces covered by the our program. Next, please.
Hi, Kamal. Looks like we had a technical issue where Hero might have jumped off real quick. She will be back very, very soon. Sorry about the inconvenience. Here she's back.
Okay, no problem, no problem. So till then, I will just share my experiences. So
Yeah, thank you.
we can. Okay.
Sorry, I'm back. I'll do.
Okay, I'm also sorry for these technical issues because my mobile was not supported earlier. So I have to, otherwise I have to go very fast. So I'm sorry for all the listeners.
No problem. Is this, are we back?
Okay. So, okay, next please. So we had so many participants attending, and we just begin the festival program. During the festival, please, next slide, Hiral. So the next episode was opening ceremony and conservation speech. So we invited many of the government officials and many other conservation partners. And as I am the founder and director of the Nepal Snake Festival, I invited previous organizers from Nepal Snake Festival Chapter 1 and 2, and again the 3. So we started with the cultural program, and you can see that the local people started to sing their song, which is called Jizia dance. It is a form of local cultural program at the beginning of the program, and in the closing also we invited some of the local artists, and they sing the song and enjoyed by many attendees. Next, please. So in the cultural program, I again invited some of the local renowned persons who is working to make people aware through different songs. I invited rappers, some of the rappers from Nepal, and they are the local rappers who sing the song in their own language. It's called Maithili language. And DK Sagar, which is also known as the Yadav Sarkar, and Mania. They both of them have the huge fan following. And I also requested them to sing a song related to snakes, and they quickly made a song and sang in front of the many people during the opening ceremony. Next, please. We also conducted drama show, and two group of students were participated in our drama show. They performed the snake bite related drama. Uh, one is from the community learning center, and another is from the local school. So they just we just conveyed the message about the snake and snake bite, and they themselves prepared the drama, and they showed in front of the all the people during the show. Next, please. We also conducted the documentary show. We invited people to see our documentary, which is related to snake and snake bite. And unfortunately, the hall was small, around for the 200 to 250 people, so that we cannot keep all the visitors in the single hall. So that's why the local people came to see the night show as well. They requested us to run the documentary in the night after closing program, but people requested us, and we have shown our documentary in the night, so up to 11 p.m. So next, please. We also demonstrated snake handling program during the festival. Our own very trained rescuers demonstrated the venomous snake handling program. We didn't give any opportunity to toss the snakes or to handle the venomous snakes, because it is not related to the rescue training. It was just the demonstration program in the snake festival. So we just demonstrated them how to professionally handle the snake, and how to rescue it, and how to release different methods we have shown them. Next, please. And but we give them the opportunity to handle the non-venomous snakes. Many participants who are interested to toss the snakes or to feel the texture of the snakes, we invited them, and we gave them the opportunity to handle non-venomous snakes like rat snakes, which were all the guidance of our trained rescuers. Next, please. We also demonstrated snakebite first aid methods from the guidance of snakebite management expert Dr. Chabilal Thapa, who is also a pioneer in snakebite management in Nepal, and he also run the training courses for medical personnel. So we invited him, and under his guidance, we demonstrated the snakebite first aid method to the visitors. Next, please. The major attraction of the snake festival was the snake art, hand and face painting. For this program, we have selected 10 volunteers out of our 100 volunteers, and all the volunteers were very busy to make the snake related art, and more than 1,000 visitors have already participated in these programs, and this is the major attraction. So next, please. And among those, we just separated one room for the female who have a newly born child. So we separated breastfeeding area for them also, and many people who enjoyed our snake art, some in hand, face, and other things. So next, please. We conducted the Harping and Nature Walk program for the participants as our guest. The next 50 volunteers from the schools, and the next 50 volunteers from all over the Nepal. Some are nature guides, some are snake rescuer, and some are wildlife conservationists. So we invited them, and we went for the Harping and Nature Walk and some of the major tourist attraction places in the Dhanusa district, like Ranjanaki Temple. So all the people enjoyed not only the harping, but they also enjoyed the bird watching as well. Next, please. So we announced the competition winner. So we have given the prize distribution, certificate, and some token of love to all the participants. Mostly the winner, first runner-up, second runner-up, and third runner-up. And these certificate and token of love were distributed by the judge panel from the Snake Festival, art, essay, and song. Next, please. So we have also make a snake photo booth where people can take the photos. So you can see the Nepal Snake Festival photo booth where different people came, students came, and just captured their photo. As well as we installed the some of the posters, large banners, which was provided by the Save the Snakes team. So we also displayed the Save the Snakes banner, and many people enjoyed to take a photograph in front of these banners. Next, please. So these are the volunteer teams. Still, some of the volunteers are missing in the photos. And in the next slide, you can see the teachers who have guided their students to place some of the snake-related things in their stalls. So next, please. So the another major attraction is the organizational stall. So we have 22 different stalls in the Nepal Snake Festival. 11 stalls were run by the schools team, where we have already conducted the awareness training, and we trained the volunteers. They run the 11 stalls, and next 12 stalls were run by our own volunteers. So you can see different names and different stalls. Next, please. So we gave the homework to the students during our volunteer training, and we gave one species to one stalls. We particularly focused on the venomous snakes because we have so many snakes and non-venomous snakes, so it is not possible to install all the snake-related stalls. So we majorly focused on the venomous snakes from Nepal, and some major non-venomous snakes. And these all stalls were run by the students themselves. These are the volunteer students. We trained them for the stalls, 11 stalls, 11 schools, and 50 plus volunteers from school only. Next, please. These all are the things made by the student themselves. You can see the snake art in the stone, and some of the ecosystems art, and some of the clay art, and these all different types of arts made by the student themselves. We just provided some compensation to buy the color and some color paint, so that it will help them to minimize their cost. So we just give some basic compensation, and they all made themselves. And at last, we just kept this for the next snake festival. So next, please. We have other stalls like tubal stalls, where we kept snake art, as well as museum specimen of snakes, as well as the snake charmers, things like many snake charmers display the snakes, and they sell the many things. We just shown what type of things they take, and some of the museum, and our own t-shirt, cap, Nepal snake related things. So these all stalls were handled by our own 50 volunteers. Next, please. So our program was covered by the national and local newspapers and online also. And some of the international newspaper also highlighted our Nepal Snake Festival from the India. So these all are our media coverage. Next, please. After the program, we have the third session, as I already mentioned. The third session is the review or refresher meeting, because we conducted these programs, and we invited those 50 volunteers from the schools, and we took the feedback from them, so that it will be easy to handle in all the mismanagement. Maybe we are also learning. This is a huge program, and maybe sometimes we forgot to point out some important things. So we again invited them, and we took all the feedback from the participants, and we also distributed some certificate and token of love to all these school students and teachers as well. And from their feedback, we will manage more things in upcoming snake festivals. So next, please. These are the photo from our first chapter of Nepal Snake Festival, where you can see same things, but in a different way. These all are from the Nepal Snake Festival chapter 1. And next, please. And these all photo are from the Nepal Snake Festival chapter 2. We conduct these programs just for the people who are interested in snake, and who are also not interested in snake. We invite them, and what we educate is that we educate them the venomous snakes of Nepal and some non-venomous snakes of Nepal, first aid, do's and don't, with the guidance of medical expert. And we also train them for the preventive measures of snake bite, and we also educate them about the importance of snakes. So these are my presentation. I'm very grateful to all the helping hands, including Save the Snakes, King Cobra Conservancy, Herpetologists Foundation, and Katie Adamson Conservation Fund, and many other conservation partners and volunteers, academic institutions, government organizations who directly or indirectly help to conduct the Nepal Snake Festival. And I'm very happy to share about the Nepal Snake Festival Chapter 4, which is going to be held in Eastern Nepal. And from this platform, I request all the people, if you can support this kind of program in Nepal, please support us. We are increasing our level of awareness. So every year we are increasing the level of our program, the level of our standard. So we need more support. So that's why I request all you to support the Nepal Snake Festival. Thank you.
Amazing. Thank you so much, Kamal. Such incredible work and great work on just keeping on going year after year. And for those of you that don't understand the amount of efforts that go into creating an event like this and the amount of effort that goes into doing everything that Kamal showed, it really takes a lot of work and a great team. So yeah, great job, Kamal.
Thank you.
Ooh, excuse me. Okay, next up we are going to have David Vera from Argentina.
Hello, my name is David Vera.
Okay, sorry. I will.
I am working in the La Plata Museum. Hello, my name is David Vera. I am working in the La Plata Museum from Argentina and getting to know the snakes of Argentina's Pampas grassland. What are the Pampas grasslands? They are in the center of Argentina, and they are dominated by grasses like poa or festuca. There are several types of grasslands like hilly grassland, open grasslands, shrubby grasslands, sandy environments with grasslands like Samophilus grassland, and wetlands. So the snakes living in this type of grasslands are blind snakes, colubers, and vipers. The open grasslands are like a sea of grasses, and they are very homogeneous. Botrops alternatus is one of the venomous snakes living in the Pampas grassland. This species is called urutu and reach up to 150 centimeters of length. They live in open areas, and also they live in sandy environments and arid environments, and also in wetlands, and they eat rodents. They are viviparous. They are listed as least concern by the IUCN Red List. They have this characteristic pattern colors with C-shaped blotches, brown C-shaped blotches, or like kidney blotches, and they have a triangular head, and they are venomous and aggressive. So be careful if you found one of these species in the Pampas grassland. Okay, the Pictia munoai, or Rio Grande do Sul blind snake, is a least concerned species than oviparous that lay eggs in the ground, usually in the ant nests, and they are subterranean snakes, fossil snakes, live underground eating ants, and they reach up to 18 centimeters of length. They are tiny snakes and have small eyes, so they are called blind snakes. And there are non-venomous and non-aggressive snakes like Parathornophis rusticus, another gentle snake that live in open areas and also near to wetlands. They eat rodents, lizards, and snakes. So they are important because they also eat venomous snakes. So they control the population of rodents and snakes in the environment. They reach up to 150 centimeters of length, and they are oviparous and also Phalotris spegacini is the common red black snake, are oviparous also, like Pictia monoai, lives underground and lay eggs in the ground and eat amphibians, insects, and amphibians. They are brownish snakes with the line, a black line through the dorsal parts of the body, and they reach up to 5-8 centimeters of length. And look at this. The head is completely black, and they are non-aggressive and non-venomous snakes, and live in open areas and underground, and they are not evaluated by IUCN red list because they are recent species. They were described by Skokie et al. In 2022, and this is the geographic distribution. Look, the violet squares represents the geographic distribution of this species. They are one of my favorite snakes. They are tiny snakes. And so Philodrus estiva or green racer reach up to 130 centimeters of length. They live in grasslands and also in sandy and rocky environments. They are oviparous snakes and eat birds, rodents, and lizards. They are a colorful snake, emerald snake that is. They are difficult to see in the nature because they are very cryptic. So they are listed as least concern by the IUCN red list. So the Philodrus patagoniensis snake or Patagonian maculated racer, it's another oviparous snake that reach up to 150 centimeters of length in several grasslands. They are especially generalist snakes living in several types of habitat, like open grasslands, hill grasslands, near to wetlands, and they eat frogs, toads, lizards, rodents, birds, arachnids like spiders or scorpions, but they also occasionally predate over eggs. They are non-venomous, but they are aggressive snakes, and they are least concerned by the IUCN red list. Look, they are brownish snakes with black maculas along the body. Xenodon dorbingi, the South American hognose snake, reach up to 95 centimeters of length, and they are oviparous. They also live in sandy environments, eat frogs, toads, and occasionally lizards. Look, the head is like a shovel that allows them to dig in the ground. They are least concerned by the IUCN red list. And look, the bent part of the body is red and black, but the dorsal part of the body is like maculated or with brownish blotches over a cream background. They are non-aggressive and non-venomous snake. As well, hilly grassland are characterized by grasslands with rocky patches of habitat, outcrops. And Epictia australis is the fibrous blind snake, and it's least concerned by the IUCN red list, and they are like Epictia munoi, oviparous snakes, laying eggs in the ant nests, and they are subterranean, and like Epictia munoi, eat several stages of ants, like eggs, pupa, larva, adults, and reach up to 23 centimeters of length, like Epictia munoi. They are blind snakes, and they have the same coloration pattern. Egophis elegantissimus is an endemic species living in a small area. Look at this area, and they are semi-aquatic snakes living in hilly grassland. They live in hilly grassland, but they usually they go frequently to the streams or rivers to eat frogs and toads. They are specialists eating frogs and toads, and reach up to 63 centimeters of length, and they are categorized as vulnerable by the IUCN Red List because they live in a small area, and they face several types of threats, like exotic invasive species like pinus and white horses that alters the environments, and the habitat loss and fragmentation are other of the threats that they are facing, and also the people usually kill them like other snake species, and they are very beautiful snakes with a red stripe along the body and yellow and black blotches. So Oxyropus rombifer is the Amazon false coral snake. They have a coloration pattern like a true snake, but they are not venomous and non-aggressive, and they are oviparous species. Look, they are called false coral because they have red, black, and white or yellowish colors along the body. And they reach up to 1 meter or length, live in open areas, especially in hilly grasslands, and they eat rodents and small reptiles as lizards. And they are listed as release concerned by IUCN Red List. So, Philodrus agassizi is one of my favorite snake species of the world. They are called barrel with night snake, and they are oviparous. They are slender snakes, tiny snakes, and reach up to 60 centimeters of length, live in open areas, also in coastal grasslands, but usually they are more frequent to see in open areas and hilly grassland. They are specialists eating only scorpions and spiders, and are beautiful. They are green with darker stripes along the body. So they are listed as least concerned by the IUCN Red List. So the Psammophilus grassland are characterized by some grassland patches in the sandy environments. So there is a low coverage of vegetation in this type of environments. So Botrops amoditoides, Patagonian lancet, is another venomous snake of the Pampas grassland, and they are viviparous. They don't lay eggs, and they live in rocky and arid environments, and especially sunny environments. And they eat rodents as mouses and rats, but they also eat lizards as Tachyremus, and reach up to 1 meter of length, and they are similar to Rutu or other Santernatus, but they have the tip of the snout like a shovel to dig in the sand, and they have a square blotches along the body. They are listed as less concerned by the IUCN Red List. And Xenos semicinctus is called ringed cognous snake, and reach up to 60 centimeters of length, living in sandy and arid environments. They are oviparous and eat toads and lizards. So they also are called false coral because they have a coloration characterized by incomplete red and black rings along the body. They are listed as is concerned by the IUCN Red List. And finally, the wetlands are characterized by flooded grasses, and this is a typical wetland. So the snakes that live in wetlands are more semi-aquatic, so they frequently go to eat toads or frogs. They are looking for frogs or toads or fishes in the streams or rivers, or in the fruited grasses, and they also eat insects like this species. The Drophila chicoconia kills sepia snake. This is viviparous snake, reach up to 70 centimeters of length, and is listed as is concerned by the IUCN Red List. And they are brownish snake with dark stripes along the flanks of the body, and they have killed scales, and so they are aggressive, non-venomous but aggressive. Erythrolampus coccidophilus is like all the other snake Ligophis anomalus. They are two similar snakes regarding the habitat and the diet. So they both eat toads, frogs, in fluted grasses, and are semi-aquatic and reach up to 70 centimeters and are oviparous, are similar in ecological features, but they are different in coloration. This species, Erythrolampus coccidophilus, is yellowish or greenish with irregular patterns of black blotches along the body, and this is Ligophis anomalus with red and yellowish stripes along the body. They both are non-aggressive and non-venomous, and they are listed as least concerned as well. And Tachymenes ocellata or ocellated pampas snake is it's a snake living in wetlands, but more terrestrial than the other species, reach up to 60 centimeters of length. And this snake eats slugs and also insects. This is this is very important. It's slugs, it's rare. And this species is similar to, it's like to Urutu, but they don't have a killer snake like Urutu, and they don't have a triangular head or fossilized beaks in the their snout, and they are more slender snakes and more small snakes. They are non-venomous snakes and non-aggressive. They are listed as disconcerted by the IUCN Red List. And I think this is all. Thank you. Have a happy World Snake Day. If you have any question, please write me. This is my email, and this is the Instagram of my conservation project.
Thank you, David. What a cool presentation. And it's so incredible to learn about these really cool species that you don't necessarily hear about. So thank you very much. If you guys have any questions, please pop them in the Q&A. Okay. Okay. Next up, we have Emily Taylor. Emily Taylor is a friend of Save the Snakes, and we are super excited to have her present for us today. Over to you, Emily. Emily, you are muted.
Better now?
Yeah.
Perfect. Thank you. Okay. So nice to see everybody. I'm excited to talk to you today about Project Rattlecam and essentially what happens when we get to watch rattlesnakes when they don't know that we're watching them. So Project Rattlecam began in the year 2020 when my colleague Scott Boback and I decided that it wasn't fair that we had live streaming cameras on all these really cool bird nests where we got to see bald eagles feeding their chicks and so on, because we all knew that cool things happened at rattlesnake dens, and we decided that we wanted to show those things off to the world. So we started by putting in a live streaming camera on a small den of California rattlesnakes, and then it's gone from there. And I'm going to show you some highlights today and tell you a research update on some of the projects that we've been doing. This shows you what our live streaming cameras look like. These are top of the line live streaming cameras. They basically are like military grade cameras that would go on tanks. So they have remote pan tilt zoom. We can chat with people on YouTube. There's a weather station in the back. All of this is detailed in a relatively new publication by my graduate students. So you can read more about the setup if you'd like to. One of the really important things that we do is we have a heavily moderated live chat because, as you might imagine, if we just showed snakes and people were free to chat on their own, there would be all kinds of misinformation. So we have a bunch of trained students and community scientist volunteers who are there to answer questions. And this is for at least 12 hours a day that we do this. So it's a lot of work and it's really exciting. Definitely ask that everyone subscribe to our YouTube channel because even if you can't spend all day watching snakes, because you have a life, you can see then you'll get notifications of some of the cool clips. Like just today at the beginning of this awesome Save the Snakes World Snake Day, we were watching male combat live for about 20 minutes on our timber rattlesnake cam. So that clip will be up later today, so you don't miss it. All right, so we have 3 live streams in the United Snakes of America. The first one that started was in 2021 on Western rattlesnakes in California, and so we now are on the 5th year of that. And then in Colorado, we have prairie rattlesnakes, and that has been the big one because these are at mega dens, and we've seen some incredible things that I'm going to be telling you about. And then just this year, we started a timber rattlesnake camera in Pennsylvania, which, like I just said, is starting to give us some exciting footage too. Okay, so here is a screen grab from some prairie rattlesnakes. So you can see what I mean about the huge number of snakes that we can see. And in this case, what you're looking at are some newborn babies. These babies, in fact, were born the day before. So this is a den and a rookery. And all three of these sites are rookeries where we get to watch pregnant females basking and interacting with their babies. And the nice thing about this is that because it's a live streaming camera, we watch them 24/7. We literally don't miss anything. We see them behaving the entire time that they're out and active. The only thing we don't see is what goes on in those cracks and crevices when they get underground. And in some cases, we can even zoom into the cracks and crevices. So obviously we're going to see some fun footage today, but I just wanted to say that when it comes to research, the idea that we can not miss any behavior is really unprecedented, not just for snake biology, but for anything. Try to think of any other circumstance where a researcher can see everything that their animals are doing all the time. It's pretty amazing in terms of the kind of sample sizes we get for behavioral ecology. So now I'm just going to give you a quick run through of some of the current and past research using the live stream. A lot of times you don't get to hear about this until the papers come out, which can take years. So you're going to get to see just a quick sneak peek into what we're doing, maybe a couple results as well. Okay, so one of my first graduate students was Max Roberts. He did his master's degree with me on this really cool project where he looked at how temperature and UV radiation interact to affect snake activity and posture. So what he did was he went through and basically every 15 minutes, all day, every day, he was able to collect data on how many snakes are out, what are they doing? Are they coiled? Are they straight? Are they sitting in the shade? Are they out in the sun? To show these really complex patterns. We have a really high resolution UV meter there on site. So we can look at not just how temperature by our weather station and operative temperature models impact the snake's behavior, but also UV. So look for some cool results coming out pretty soon about that one. We also found this really cool behaviors in terms of how snakes harvest rainwater. So all these snakes are stuck up at these rookeries. They're pregnant females. So the rain is the only type of water they get. And in Colorado, this is some of the driest places really on the planet. And so look at how these prairie rattlesnakes basically flatten themselves down into like a flying saucer to be able to harvest the rainwater off of themselves, sometimes off of their neighbors. Also notice how as soon as the rain hits them, it disperses into their skin. Scott Boback is studying the physical properties of the skin that might include maybe microchannels that allow the snakes to collect the water. Well, just this year, we started watching timber rattlesnakes, and it couldn't be more different. Look at the water beating up on the skin of timber rattlesnakes. They still drink it off of themselves, but their skin seems to be far more hydrophobic. So what previously we just thought of rattlesnake skin as skin, it could have all of these hidden differences and diversity. And look how they don't flatten themselves down. They just drink the water on the backs. Really cool new stuff. So we can do a lot by learning the different snakes and their individual identities. And we do this using community science. So viewers get to actually watch and name the snakes based on their unique patterns. So as of right now, today, we have 44 named snakes in Colorado and 18 in California and about 4 with a few more underway in Pennsylvania. So there's a lot more snakes that have not been named. It can be really difficult, especially in Colorado where there may be hundreds of snakes, and sometimes the prairie rattlesnakes kind of look similar to one another. But doing this allows us to be able to study things like individual variation in behavior and how the snakes interact with one another. So my graduate student, Owen Bachhuber, who's also finished as well as Max has, they're both doing their PhDs now, did a social network analysis. And that paper is about to be submitted. And he showed this really cool information, including the fact that the female rattlesnakes, especially the pregnant ones, have really strong individual bonds where specific snakes like to hang out with specific other snakes. So it's not just the idea that they are gregarious, which they are, that they all hang out together, but they have specific social bonds or friends. And so this is really exciting to us. You see that we have one male right here who is liking to hang out with a lot of them, but it's hard to see a lot of these other tiny ones that are zoomed way out. Those are males too, that they just didn't interact as much. So they're shown in really, really small. So this is really cool because only by watching snakes in great detail can we determine that they have these social lives. And then that can be used as outreach to teach people about snakes. We're determining that rattlesnakes have a secret language with this twitching behavior. So a lot of people who saw this just assume that it's courtship behavior, but if you look at it, it's actually really different. I mean, we just saw a baby rattlesnake doing it. That's clearly not courtship. And then this is a pregnant female, so it's not that baby's mother. And we can sit there and watch this, what we call twitching behavior happening all the time. Snakes are always doing it. They're always doing it to one another. They're not necessarily doing it when they're by themselves. And what are they saying to one another? Well, my undergraduate student, Grace Cadwallader-Osco, is trying to find out. She's gone through, and with the help of community scientists who have said in the chat, every single time we see this twitching behavior, twitching, she's logged hundreds of these observations so that we can go back and we can study this. Well, let me tell you, decoding a secret language is really hard. But we're working on it, and we're really excited to bring some of that to you in the future. Really, I'm just stalling right now so that you can see more of this really cool twitching behavior that I hope has convinced you this is not courtship. It's not the same as that chin rubbing that we see males do. Okay, current undergraduate Brianna Burke is working on a study about why rattlesnakes yawn. So many of you have seen this behavior where rattlesnakes and other snakes do this yawning or this mouth gaping behavior, including this guy Scar, a timber rattlesnake from the timber den. Well, by using the YouTube chat, we got in Colorado in 1 year over 600 yawns that Brianna could go through and code to look at the relative roles of shedding and chemosensation. And just a little spoiler, it does seem that it is involved in shedding and in potentially recognizing chemosensory cues from nearby other adults. One of my most exciting projects, or exciting to me projects, is Rayleigh Harbo's undergraduate project, where she's been studying the use of the den by insects. So I'm not going to go through all of these different insects, but let me say that we found over 34 different families of insects. So here you can see, and arachnids, here you can see some of the spiders and ticks, and these little dots show that they show up occasionally, and the bars here show that maybe we saw them a little bit more often. Well, if we start looking at some of the other ones, we can see that we have certain insects that are having, great use of the den, right? We see lots of them, including ants throughout the summer. A lot of the ants have fascinating interactions with the snakes in the sense that they are biting them sometimes. Here we see wasps, and the wasps like to bite the baby rattlesnakes that are born. Very fascinating. Check out the Psychotidae flies. We're going to come back to those in a minute. And then, of course, last but not least, here we see things like the crickets, the cave crickets that are there constantly eating the snake's shed skins and even the amniotic sacs of the newborn babies. So this is a big natural history project where we are finishing the paper right now, but I just wanted to show you one highlight here is these cycodid flies. These cycodid flies that we've discovered that dance around and appear to lek, meaning these are males looking for females, on top of the rattlesnakes every single night using our night vision function of the cameras in the rattlesnake dens. Has really answered some questions about what these flies feed on. So these are males and they don't really feed, they kind of just hang out. But when a female flies in, she will take a blood meal and the males all try to mate with her. Let me tell you how exciting this is because cycodid fly biologists catch them in traps but don't really know what they do in the wild. And so they're all really excited to be able to see this cycodid fly TV every night. One of the best things is that we were able to see the first ever observation of birthing in wild rattlesnakes. And we got to watch it live on YouTube with the public. So I was sitting there, it was a weeknight, 9:45 p.m., watching these baby rattlesnakes come out. We're zoomed in. It's pitch black out there, but we can see because of the infrared camera. And there's the most amazing things. As we watch, slowly we're going to chunk it out over time. You can see that baby rattlesnake's head right there. See now it has busted out. You can see some newborn ones in their have come out of their sacs as a new one's born. The cave crickets are cruising around looking for some of that fluid and protein that's in that amniotic sac. But I want you to take a close look at the newborn baby that's just come out. They're in their amniotic sacs and they're connected to the mother via the umbilical cord where they previously have been getting oxygen for the past few months of pregnancy. But now they need to breathe. Watch what we see. Amazing, right? I'm just imagining all of you in your homes going, ooh, ah, that's so cute. And it really is. And the idea of watching this live is really cool. It's like we all love watching the World Cup, right? Watching it live is so much better than watching it pre-recorded. And so since this time, we've seen additional births. This is the same mom. We've seen other births. And it's just really, really, really exciting. And so right now we're on Baby Watch. We have a Guess the Baby Date contest. If you go to our website, you can find that. Go to our social media, you can find that for all three of our cameras. So any day now, we should see the first pups being born. The last thing I want to tell you about is this really awesome story, this observation we had on the California cam. So I'm just going to be quiet now and let you watch this for the next couple minutes. Amazing, right? I see all the hearts. We're very excited too. So we've just, gone viral and have a huge following, and we're so thrilled because of the outreach that this provides. In addition to the research, we can see people watching this and it impacting their views of snakes. We have over 6 million views now and 25,000 subscribers, hopefully more after you subscribe today. People who go to certain zoos in the US can watch the rattle cam showing live rattlesnakes, wild rattlesnakes, alongside the awesome rattlesnake exhibits at the zoos. So it's really, really impressive, and we're very excited about it. We asked people after our first year to tell us what they think about rattlesnakes, and this is a word cloud showing some of the things they said, and you'll see that the word love was one of the biggest words. Here's some quick quotes. People went from being fearful and not a fan to embracing them as an important part of life. It changed my misconceptions of them. They're more social and gentle than I realized, showing that the social behavior and watching them mothers with their babies greatly impacts people's thoughts about rattlesnakes. I used to watch in abject horror, and now I watch because I like them. So no greater testament than that. All right. Well, thank you all so much for watching my talk and for participating in the future. Here is the info on how you can stay in touch. Please follow us on YouTube and on social media at Rattlecams. And happy World Snake Day to all of you.
Thank you so much, Emily. That was just incredible. And I hope our attendees loved it as much as I did. And it's been I think one of the best things I've been able to see, especially as a snake educator, just learning about the behavior of a species that's so iconically depicted as just fearful and just no way to be able to relate to it. But I mean, this just shows us otherwise. And I think, yeah, the more people that talk about it globally, the better it is for snakes. Okay, cool. I think we're going to tune into our next presentation. This one's going to feature some other really cool, exciting snakes as well. But this time from Kenya. So this presentation is by Dixon Katana. Dixon could not be here today, but he is doing some incredible work on bush vipers, on vipers in Kenya. So let's have a look.
Hello everyone, my name is Dixon Katana from the Wild Snake Project in Kenya, monitoring the endemic vipers population in Kenya. Kenya, we have 3 endemic vipers which are found in the country. The first one is the Kenya horned viper, which is found in the Great Rift Valley of Kenya. The next one is the Mount Kenya bush viper, which is found in the Mount Kenya region. And we have the third one is the Kenya mountain viper, which is found in the high altitude of Kenya. But now we are focusing on the Kenya horned viper, which is found in the Great Rift Valley of Kenya. The Kenya horned viper is a small snake. It's 40 centimeters of length. It's not very big. We found out the threats of this species. It is that the habitat loss, where they can live, is almost gone. Second of all, this snake, it's small and it's a slow-moving snake, so easy to be killed. And the third, it is high in the pet trade, so it's easy also to be collected. The Kenyan viper is very beautiful snake. It's a gray, brown, silver line, and it has little horns on the head. So it's very, very cute little creature. So that's the one which we do monitoring at the moment. How did we do this? We start with the distribution survey, whereby we have been looking for the location whereby the Kenya horned viper is known to be there. But it was very hard to find the location. It took us around 6 months to find a suitable habitat which the Kenya horned viper is still there. But on this location which they have all records which we have visited, most of them which are right there, it's really shocking. Everything has been turned to agricultural land, which is the big threat of this species, because this species also it's a habitat preference. Once we found out the location, which has a little population, we set up our monitoring project, where we have been working with the Zoological Society of London, and they say that we could try iron sheets, which has been, people have already started using iron sheets in the Western world, and it did work for monitoring for snake population. But here in East Africa, we was the first people using the iron sheets to monitor the population, and we set up 19 plots, and in these 9 plots we set up 18 cover boards each, which was 342 iron sheets in total. But we had some challenges in our monitoring sites. The challenges were some of the iron sheets were stolen, and some of the iron sheets were set by the big games, for example, buffaloes, giraffe, and under the cover boards in daytime it was around 40 degrees Celsius, so it was very, very hot. So finding for the 2 years, it was zero Kenya horned viper under cover board, but we did recover some other animals under cover board. For example, we found frogs, we found some ants nests, a lot of snails, they really liked the cover boards, and some species of snakes. We found the sand snake, one on the cover board, and the wolf snake also we found one in a cover board. So yeah, some animals did love the cover boards, but not the Kenya horned viper. Setting up the monitoring project, also we did the visual encounter survey, whereby we walked 3 kilometers, 2 surveyors and 1 ranger, because this place, yes, it is dangerous. We have buffaloes which are dangerous to us while we are walking, so the ranger was keeping safe for us. And another challenge was the temperature. It was rising between 8 and 34 degrees, sometimes heavy rain. So some locations we couldn't manage to reach. So that is some of the challenges. And finding for the 2 years, we found 34 Kenya horned viper in visual encounter survey, whereby we found 31 individual and 3 were recapture. And we did recognition by recapture by taking pictures, which there are people who already have been using these methods, and it's really working. So we took picture in every individual we found for the last 2 years, and some we did take picture every single snake we found, and in the pictures you could see some they are matching and some they cannot match. For example, on the picture we have 5 different pictures there, but some they do match and some they are not. So in that regard, I'll give you 3 seconds, so you check, and then you can see which they can match and which they they cannot. So I do 1, 2, 3. So if you look number 4 and number 1, they do much, but the rest are not. So this is the methods which we have been using to identify the individuals. Also in that we did take more data as we did our monitoring. We did take a location where we found the snake. We took altitude, we took genders, also we did the sizes and weights, length, temperature, the time we found it, humidity, and weather conditions, which is all matching there, and then the photo or identification. So in that regard, I'll say this program is really useful. Is not to harm the snake, because other method is to clip them, which is not really good for the animals. Some animals also suffer with that. But this method is really, really nice. You don't need to harm the snake, and it is really working and has been really useful for us. So threats for the species for the last 2 years for our monitoring, we found out is the habitat loss. Every day you come in that location, every time you find the land to being diverted to agricultural land, which is not good for these species. These species prefer habitats. So habitat loss is the big threat for this creature. So after what we have done for the last 2 years, we found how can we help these species, because we found a small population which is still healthy. We have come an idea that we will have to start, we are doing reforestation. And to doing the reforestation is we need to work with the community. How do we work with the community? What we do is we rent their lands. So we pay them to keep their land natural and to keep that family sustained so that the snake can survive and also the family can still live there. So that is what we think can help this species to live again. Because I found also another threat is the people, they don't have an idea. Some species are found only in one place, like the Kenyan viper, for example. So what we work with them to pay them, and we give them beehive as well. We give them tree fruits, so they plant tree fruits in their farm, so they leave their land natural, as well they can benefit still from their land. But more snakes need our help. Recently, we started another project for the Mount Kenya bush viper. Also, this snake has a threat. Also, the habitat loss. This snake is a high demand on the pet trade, and also it's a slow-moving snake, easy to be killed as well. It is a beautiful snake, not very big. It is smaller as the Kenya horn viper, and only this one, it's a canopy snake. It loves to be on top of the trees. And yeah, it's so really beautiful. It's black, yellow, and grayish in it. And the scale are rough, they're not smooth. And this snake is really, really beautiful snake. Yeah, so now I just started the distribution surveys, which I have already been in the location to look where this Mount Kenya bush viper is still to be found. Already we did several locations. Only one location we found a Kenya horn viper, Mount Kenya bush viper, but the other location it was 0 Mount Kenya bush viper. So still we need to do more surveys. Right, so what is next? It is surveys, till we found where the Mount Kenya bush viper known to be found, or where we found, and then conservation action. We can take it from there. But now we need to do more surveys to find out where the rest are still are. Okay, so I would like to thank you everyone who have been supporting us. I can see on the screen, these are the people which have been make our goals go through, and we really appreciate your help. And thank you everyone who has been listening. And this is what we have for now. And stay tuned and to see what is come next.
Amazing. It's yeah, bush vipers are such incredible species, and I really hope to see them one day. But for now, we'll let Dixon do all the work, and next year, hopefully, he has some incredible updates for us. Okay, next up, we have Justin Bernstein. So Justin is on the Save the Snakes Advisory Committee, and he has done some incredible work in the Philippines, which he will be speaking about today.
Hello, everyone. It is so great to be able to provide this talk. Thank you so much to Hero for inviting me to give this talk on World Snake Day. My name is Justin Bernstein. I am a postdoctoral fellow at the American Museum of Natural History, and today I will be talking about how over a variety of research projects, we've used molecular data sets like DNA to better understand the evolution, dispersal, and the biodiversity of snakes in Southeast Asia. So after this title slide, I'm going to turn my camera off and we'll get on with the talk. So I want to start off this talk by showing you this photo because it encapsulates a large theme that I'll be touching upon, which is this concept of islands acting as nature's laboratory. So we call islands nature or natural experiments because their isolation acts as a living laboratory where environmental and evolutionary processes occur on a smaller and more visible scale. So we can use islands as a model in order to better understand biodiversity and evolutionary processes. So in this entire photo, we have our mainland, we have really small, tiny islands, we have some larger ones, and not only that, but we also see that we have deep areas or deep waters, and then we also have much shallower waters where you can see that some of these islands, at least above the ocean surface, are actually connected underneath. So this is a theme that we're going to be seeing as we talk about the evolutionary processes in different snake lineages in this presentation. So in calling islands nature's laboratory, there's a lot that we can learn by performing evolutionary studies, especially when we're using molecular data sets on species groups or organismal groups that are distributed across islands. We can better understand how organisms colonize islands and how they're distributed across landscapes. We can better understand extinction processes that are typically higher on islands, and this also relates back into biodiversity as well as conservation studies. And we can learn what geoenvironmental dynamics are playing roles in the evolutionary process that gives rise to new species or speciation. So if we're going to study evolutionary processes across islands, we need a geological system of islands to study. And so a lot of my research takes place in Southeast Asia, and specifically the Indo-Australian archipelago, which is shown right here. So this consists of Indochina, as well as these islands called the Greater Sunda Islands. We have the Indonesian islands, as well as Timor. This is shown in a region called Wallacea. And then we also have the Philippines right here, and then New Guinea, which is north of Australia. And you'll see different terms here like Sahul, Wallacea, and Sundaland. And these actually refer in part to the geological histories of these landscapes. So this entire region actually was very geologically unstable and still is. This map right here shows during the Pleistocene, thousands of years ago, land connectivity. So this is the current geological landscape with gray areas showing land above the ocean surface. But if we go back in time, there were actually sea level fluctuations that exposed land bridges that are now underneath the ocean surface. So what we can see here is that in Sundaland, we have Indochina and the Tai Malay Peninsula connected to the Greater Sundas. So this is where we have the greatest extent of land bridges. In Malaysia, we hardly have any land bridge connections between islands. In the Philippines, we have a moderate amount. And then on the Sahul Shelf, we have the island of New Guinea connected to Australia. And what we know is that different organismal groups in the past took advantage of these land bridges to get from one area to another. And then when these land bridges got cut off, when sea levels rose back up and covered these land connections, our populations got cut off from one another. And this is a way where we can have the evolution of lineages or speciation, the rise of new species. So this is why we call this the Pleistocene species pump hypothesis. With that said, this is also why we use this region as a model region for biogeography, which is going to be using Earth's geological history and knowledge of this to better understand the evolution and the distribution of species on Earth. So a lot of my research is about investigating this biogeography of the Indo-Australian archipelago. And what I've been interested in is trying to identify if these Pleistocene sea level fluctuations that essentially expose these land bridges and then also submerge them back beneath the ocean surface, were these really responsible for generating all of the species or a majority of the biodiversity that we see in the Indo-Australian archipelago? And the reason why I ask this is because this is a very wide region that has a lot of environmental heterogeneity, so a lot of different climates and a lot of different geological histories, and other geological mechanisms that can also give rise to species. So over time, we've really relied on this idea of these sea level fluctuations generating biodiversity, but I want to investigate if in a variety of snake lineages, were there other geological mechanisms responsible for this, or responsible for the species we see today? I also want to know, do environmental factors influence distributions? So here, with geological, I'm talking about the physical landscape, but for environmental factors, I'm really talking about if things like temperature, precipitation, and seasonality are going to impact where we see the species that exist today. The snakes that I have been investigating are in the families Homolopsidae and Colubridae. So the colubrid snakes are represented by Stegonotus and Lycodon. These are also known as ground snakes and wolf snakes. An example of one is shown right here, very charismatic. And then we also have these homolopsid snakes, also known as Asian mud snakes. So these homolopsid snakes are typically found in very muddy and dark aquatic environments, and they are nocturnal. And specifically, these homolopsid snakes are very interesting. It's a small family. Many of them have these rear fangs in which they have a crude fang to help deliver a mild venom that helps incapacitate their aquatic prey. A few of them have oral glands that likely help them to tolerate brackish and salty water environments. And then we also have very bizarre species like Herpeton tentaculatum that has these mechanoreceptors that are found on the front of the face to help them identify and catch their prey when it swims by. So all of these species are found distributed throughout the Indo-Australian archipelago. So I've studied the evolutionary processes that have given rise to their biodiversity and see how that correlates with these Pleistocene sea level fluctuations. So we use these snake systems in an approach called phylogenomics in order to investigate their macroevolutionary patterns and test these hypotheses of geological mechanisms and environmental mechanisms that can contribute to these biodiversity patterns. So we perform DNA sequencing called genomic sequencing to get thousands of different parts of the genome. And then we use this to reconstruct a phylogeny which shows us the evolution of these lineages, shown by these lines, as they go from the past into the present. So this branching pattern is similar to a family tree. We then use this as a backbone to estimate divergence times to determine when lineages evolved from one another or diverged from each other, and also use other computer models to better understand ancestral ranges. So what that means is we can identify likely where these snakes were living in the past across a geological landscape like islands. So now we have the evolution of a group. We have information on when the species evolved and where they evolved and where they were living. And with that information, we can test our hypothesis of how how sea level fluctuations or other environmental mechanisms can give rise to biodiversity patterns in the Indo-Australian archipelago. We also perform something called species distribution models. So what this does is we take occurrence data, or where snakes were found, and subject it to a variety of computer models with bioclimatic variables, for example, temperature, precipitation, seasonality. And then we get this, what is called a stacked species distribution model, where we get this heat map, where hotter colors show higher levels of biodiversity and cooler colors show lower levels of diversity. So what we're seeing here is how biodiversity can correlate with different environmental factors. And so here are some of the results from one of these studies. So this is going to be a phylogeny showing the evolutionary relationships of Stegonotus and Lycodon. So these are these colubrid snakes. And what you're seeing here is you have all these little color nodes, these pie charts. These are those ancestral ranges. So some of what we're seeing in this phylogeny is that these divergent states, well, these take place before we have those land bridges that were in Southeast Asia being submerged beneath the ocean surface, which means that there's other mechanisms other than these sea level fluctuations that gave rise to the species level biodiversity of these snakes in the Indo-Australian archipelago. So what we see is that a lot of these groups are geographically based, and these colors that I'm showing in these boxes, which pertain or correspond to those ancestral ranges, can actually be shown in the map right here, where we have a group in Indochina, a group primarily in the Philippines, those in Wallacea, as well as New Guinea and Australia. So if we take a look at this map and want to look at this, what we would call this biogeographic story, or how these groups have dispersed over time, we see the following. We see that earlier lineages, and we have our phylogeny shown right here, colored by different groups. We have earlier lineages that were speciating within Indochina. And then we had dispersal moving northward. So this is this group shown right here in blue. And then we had dispersal east and west into South Asia, and then across land bridges eastward into the Greater Sunda Islands. So now we're looking at these yellow and these red groups. We also had dispersal from the Wallachian Islands into the Philippines, and then finally more distributing eastward into New Guinea and Australia, where we had some other dispersal events. So what we actually see here is that we have land bridges that are both deep in time or shallow in time, and also those that were over water dispersals and those that are over land bridges. So you can see those by these arrows shown here. Again, these correspond to the different groups within Stegonotus and Lycodon. And we see that at older timescales, we had this movement over land bridges, where these land bridges were allowing these populations to get from, say, Indochina into Sumatra, Java, as well as Borneo. And then the dashed lines are going to represent overwater dispersals, where when we didn't have land bridges, we have this island hopping, or these rafting events, as we would call them, as they got from the western parts of their distribution into the eastern parts. And from there, we had more movement over land bridges, like going from New Guinea into Australia. Now, something I also want to focus on is what we see in the Philippines, because we actually have a couple of results here that do suggest island hopping, but also other results that warrant further investigations. In the Philippines, what we find is that we likely have island hopping scenarios going from the southern islands into the northern islands. And then we have one species, Deinodon seali, which is only found in Palawan, likely rafted on what we call this microcontinental block into its current position, which was originally closer to northern China. So all the Philippines populations are more closely related to one another, except this one species. So we have a hypothesis that it either came from this continental block that rafted southward, or it came from Borneo and then dispersed into Palawan. However, these need further testing with additional data. When it comes to these homolopsid snakes, when we look at their phylogeny, we find very similar results. All of their divergent states, when these species evolved, predate those Pleistocene sea level fluctuations. So that means that there's other geological or environmental mechanisms that contributed to their diversification. And what we find is that depending on where in this tree we look, we find that river catchment events, stumbling over my words, tectonic uplift events like the rise of plateaus, or island formation. All of these, depending on where we look in the tree, contributed to the biodiversity of homolopsid snakes. These river catchment events are when rivers will shift north, south, east, or west due to geological forces. And like I said, tectonic uplift events, examples of these are the rise of plateaus, such as the Korat Plateau in Thailand. When it comes to these uplift events, we actually found signatures of undescribed diversity. So we ended up describing a new species of rice paddy snake. And in addition, our results showed that there are bioclimatic or environmental variables that also facilitated the diversification of these snakes. So these are going to be things like temperature and seasonality and precipitation, which I had mentioned before. I don't want to get too far into the details of these computer models, but we can look at the niche overlap of these species. So here we have the distribution of one species in red and then the other one in purple. This KP is the Korat Plateau that led to the divergence of these two species. And we can plot the available niche space in this polygon in purple, and then of that same species, the occupied niche space. We can compare this to the available niche space of the other species and also plot its occupied niche space. And what we find here is that, yeah, we do see a great deal of overlap in the available niche space of these two species. However, the occupied niche space, where they are actually found, is only overlapping by about 20%. So this shows that they have niche differentiation, and diversification has also been facilitated by these environmental factors. This arrow you saw pop up shows a centroid shift in the niche space as these homolopsids had evolved over time, and we find that things like precipitation was a major contributing factor to the diversification of this group, not just the rising of this plateau. Also, when it comes to the colubrid snakes, we also find that using these environmental variables, we do find that there are limits in distributions, such as at the Isthmus of Accra, that are pertaining to different environmental factors, such as precipitation. So for the sake of time, I'm not going to get too far into this. However, this actually is not in press anymore. This was published this year in Journal of Biogeography. Now, I'm not saying that these sea level changes are not important. We have one species, Hydroglabies periops, that likely use these land bridges to get from Indochina into Borneo and then went extinct on the mainland, or it got into Borneo and then speciated. So these sea level fluctuations, they are important. They do help explain the distribution of species as well as the evolution of others. However, I do think it's time that we start deviating away from this species pump paradigm, or that Pleistocene sea level fluctuation hypothesis, as the only hypothesis. There are so many different ancient geological and environmental factors and events that have given rise to biodiversity patterns within the Indo-Australian archipelago, and so it's time that we start taking more of a brute force approach, or at least testing multiple hypotheses rather than just relying on the one of these sea level fluctuations. With that said, thank you very much for listening. I hope you all enjoyed the presentation. A huge thank you to my collaborators, my funders, as well as all the natural history collections that have loaned specimens over a decade of research for all of these projects. And I would also like to announce that I have just been hired as an assistant professor at Slippery Rock University, and I will be starting the Serpent Lab. So if you are interested in collaborations or want to talk research or other educational opportunities, please reach out to me. Thank you very much and have a great day.
Very, very fascinating. And another great example of just so many incredible factors that influence species diversity, especially when it comes to snakes. And it's something I like to talk about a lot when I'm doing my education, because most often people don't necessarily understand, why do we have so many snake species and how can they adapt so easily to these different environments? Okay, so for our last presentation for the day.
Hello.
Excuse me. So this presentation is by our partners at Instituto Butantan in Brazil. And we have been having a fantastic collaboration with them this year. And Lua will be speaking a little bit more about that today.
Hello. My name is Lua Bissoli Silva, and I'm educational leader here at the Butantan Biological Museum. And my title presentation is Butantan Biological Museum Beyond Walls, Community-Based and Outreach Programs. So here in this presentation, I am focusing on our off-site actions of the museum. But first of all, I will talk a little bit of our museum and where we are. So we are located in Brazil, more specifically in the city of São Paulo, and this is a drone image of our campus. So you see that we are located in this huge green area. Here at the right side, you see the Biological Museum building. And we have also in this same area, other museums that are located in this green park, which is open to the public. And visitors can walk to the park and walk to the museums to visit and to get to know a little bit more about our science and our biodiversity. So the Biological Museum is this one. We are located in this green area in the west part of the city of São Paulo, here in Brazil. So our exhibition is quite different. So we are focused, our main mission is to do the ex situ conservation of living animals, mainly the reptiles and mainly the snakes. So if you walk in our museum, you see living snakes in enclosures that look like the environments they are found in nature. So we designed these enclosures to have this specific attention for the environments that these species are found. So you see, for example, this boa in an enclosure that is very similar to Atlantic forest environments. And also they have living specimens of plants, of fungus, and all the control of temperature and humidity for keep these animals safe and well. And people can interact with them. We call this like a window through the nature, because São Paulo is a city that is very urbanized and people often don't have any contact with nature. So the museum is the opportunity to people to get in touch with animals and the biodiversity that they are not really used to. So it's inspired a lot of curiosity and inspires a lot of attention. So you see in this image people taking photos of our animals, and it's a very popular environment to be. But also it's an opportunity to communicate our messages about the importance of conserving snakes, mainly snakes, yes. We also have in the museum another part of the exhibition that we have temporary exhibitions. And this one is one that we are talking about a specific biome in Brazil, which is called Caatinga. And this biome is very stereotyped to be poor in biodiversity or to don't have any importance for conservation. And in this exhibition, we show up the high biodiversity that they have. Also, we bring some interactions for the public, some virtual explaining, some videos, some photos, some designs, and also the living animals. And we talk a little bit about the importance of this biome for the public. And But we also have some part of the public, the audiences that we work with, that not necessarily goes to the museum. So the audiences that we work with here is this one, the first one, which is the public that visits the museum, the scheduled institutions, groups, the walking visitors at the museum, which is various ages, from various countries, from various parts of Brazil, and mainly from São Paulo, but also from other parts of the world. And we also have the audiences that we treat in outreach activities, our attendees or the local communities that we work in projects that I'm talking a little bit more further. And also we have the virtual audiences that we reach through social medias, websites, repositories, some virtual exhibitions, and these three types of audiences that compose the biological museum groups that we work with. I am focused in this two one, which is the audiences for outreach activities. And how we design our offsite actions. We have two models in this right now. So we think in one group or one type of action that we focus on snake bite prevention and management training. Because related to this, we have populations with highest incidence of snake bites or human-snake conflicts, or people that need preventive guidelines or safe handling practice to live their realities. So people that are close to nature, or they live in rural areas, or they work in farms, or they work in state parks, for example, or people that the police, anyways, people that works in contact with nature, in contact with snakes, that treat these conflicts, human-snake conflicts. So for these actions, we design one type of action, the snake bite prevention and management training. But also we work with other type of actions, which we call science outreach events or science fairs, which we are talking to the population in general that don't have access to the biological museums. So we want to give them a quite short experience, and to relate our actions, to relate our messages, and to get to know our work, and also to get to know the individuals, the animals that we work with, and to help us to conserve the snakes. So mainly in this group, we work with the lack of awareness or a disconnection from biodiversity, which is totally different from the first group that I was talking about, which already have some connection, but it can be really conflictual. So for those two type of actions, we also, in the end, we are communicating for the biodiversity conservation, which is our final mission. Okay. So currently in this year, we have some examples of enrolled actions. And our community-based programs are in 2 cities right now in these years, which is the Vale do Ribeira, which is the countryside of São Paulo, some parts in the Vale that have lots of botrops, jararacas, the let's heads, and we have the highest, one of the highest incidence of snake bites for botrops in this region. So we have a very important work with them. So we go to the field to identify, to do research with the animals, but also to communicate with the population, to have some training programs, to have some talks about the problems they found, to hear about what they need from us, and to work together to conserve these environments, and to understand that biodiversity and them are allied in the same way. So they need to be together to help to protect the snakes and the biodiversity that they found. And we also have another project in Paraty, which is the Rio de Janeiro state, which is a different project. It's in a farm, and in this farm we work with rural workers that works with agriculture, so preventing snake bites as well, to talking a little bit about the biodiversity of the park and helping to create strategies of snake bite prevention. So our community-based programs are quite like this. In our outreach events that we already enrolled this year was 4 of them. I will show you some of them, but in general, these are activities that we do in a partnership with some institution that bring to us, for example, scholars, students, or some context. For example, the Environment Week that we have here in São Paulo. So it's an event that favors us to talk a little bit about the biodiversity and to help people to get closer to nature and to connect with the mission of conservate animals, and mainly snakes in this case. So these are some photos of our handling training and snakebite prevention training in Paraty this year. So here we were talking with the people that work in the farm and in the park, and talking about how to prevent and how to identify some species that are more common in the farm. Here we have also a moment to desensibilize people that are really afraid and want to kill those animals. So we have some animals that are used to human touch that we use for this action specifically. And we talk a little bit about how these animals can be, it's an animal that needs to be conserved, and people often have some fear, and in this type of interactions, they lose their fear. They start to rethink their relation with the snakes, and inspire people. They are very curious about it, and in the end, we can bring positive actions. We also had this specifically handling training for people that works in the park as well. So you see one of our colleagues here showing how to use the equipment, and the others also do this work and do the tests and also do the handling as they should do for preventing snake bites, to move the animal for other places that are safer, or to pick this animal and put in other place that is safer for the community. So we training those agents. Here's another example of the community of the Vale do Ribeira that came to the Butantã in a trade-off. So we have been there in the last year. We did some actions there, and then we brought them here this year to get to know a little bit more about our work in the institutes, because we collect some animals, we do some work in the community, and in the end, they need also to understand what we do here. So it's a trade-off. It's a way that they know how they contribute and how our partnership. It's important to have this work and to continuing developing science with them. So it's a very important as well action. So here we were showing them how we do the extraction of venom of botrops, and it was a moment with our researchers, and they can also ask questions and get closer to the scientific fields, and also to understand how they can, if they are interested, how they can work with this, with us, and etc. Here are other photos that in this situation I was showing them one of our animals that we used to sensibilize people. So they were very curious about how was the feeling touching them, and this is also some part of this action. We also had some in one island here in Brazil that also have lots of cases of So this is a model, the outreach event that I was talking about. So we also have some groups, some scholar groups that visit us. So we show them some materials, show them the animals as well, and talk a little bit about the matters that we talk in the museum. And the final message is how to amplify our vision and support our partners to do this work together with us. So with the Save the Snakes, the Butantan Institute and the Biological Museum, we will work in a global snake education network, which is an initiative for engaged global actors in a way. So in this network, we want to build a global community to benefit cultural shifts and risk mitigation and to foster harmonious coexistence between people and snakes, empower, have public awareness, evidence-based education and global alliances. So our idea is to bring people together to build a repository of materials and to organize people surrounding one idea, which is the snake educators. So here's an example of our repository. So we are building a repository, open repository that people can access and have access to all of our materials. And if you navigate, you can see the materials that are available for download. And if you want to participate on this global initiative with us, please scan this QR code and get in touch with us. So we are building this community and you are more than welcome to join us. Thank you very much. Here are my contacts and I am available for any questions.
Okay, wonderful. Thank you so much, Lua. So, as Lua mentioned, yeah, we've joined forces and we have created this education network. So if you head on over to snakeeducators.org, you can find all the details there and you can join the network there. And really, we want to be able to build this community of people that educate people about snakes. And I think one of the amazing things we've learned today is that, no matter where you are in the world, no matter the culture, the language, really it's incredible to be able to use snakes as an education, um, you know, um, a means to educate. And no matter where people are, they're very receptive to learning about snakes. So the key thing here is education, and it's really exciting to see more and more people wanting to do snake education all the time. So with that, I'm going to open the floor to questions. So again, if you have any questions, please feel free to raise your hand and then I will unmute you. I really appreciate the work Michael has been doing behind the scenes answering all the different questions.
We've had a lot of great feedback and back and forth today, so it's exciting to answer them. Yeah, thank you everyone for joining us today.
No questions?
If I could ask one question for Emily Taylor. Emily, are you still on? I believe you are, right?
Yes, I am.
I just had a question about some of the long-term goals of the RattleCam project. What are some of your dreams that you're hoping to achieve in 5, 10 years? Sorry, it's a big question, but I'm just so
Yeah, it's a big question. To a certain extent, those are to be determined because we're constantly getting excited by new things we see and trying to figure out how to solve those. I have a new postdoc who's working on the project, a new graduate student coming in. Um, I definitely would love to try to figure out the twitching. It keeps me up at night. I want to know what these rattlesnakes are saying to one another. But I also have a dream of putting in a fourth and possibly final camera in Arizona, maybe somewhere else, who knows? But what I'm really hoping to do is to get to the point where there's a lot of new people watching who are not already snake fans. We certainly have a number of those, but I want more. And I think that like as you know how it goes, right? As you build an organization, the visibility on the press and in social media rises and rises and rises, and it takes a long time to get to the point where you're really reaching a lot of people who are not already snake lovers. And that's a big dream of mine is how to become better at community engagement and get my octopus arms further out into the public. And then, of course, I'd also love to be able to experimentally test the effects that some of our outreach techniques, including Project RattleCam, have on people's opinions. Instead of just looking at some of the things they say, like how is it impacting people's opinions? Like we have a grade 3 to 5 curriculum called Rattle Ed, where we've been able to do that. We've been able to test the effect it has on kids, and it's been really fascinating to see how it improves their opinions of snakes. So doing that for adults watching the camera would be really neat. It's very, very logistically challenging, but we're starting to work on it.
all incredible goals. And I just have to ask, would you ever be interested in working with a different species, perhaps like an international species, doing
Oh, trust
cameras?
me. Absolutely. Like, you all tell me, what are some snakes that aggregate that are not rattlesnakes? We've thought about water snakes here in the US, and scratched my head and realized that there's got to be some internationally that I'm not thinking of. So I thought of reticulated pythons inside, bat caves. That would be really, really cool. But otherwise, like, what is a place where snakes stay for a long time in one area? Like, I'm all
King
ears. I would
cobras on a
love it.
nest.
That would be cool, but it's just one nest, right? It's not like an
Yeah.
aggregation. Like it would be hard, but it would be really, really, really cool to do it. Honestly, like a king cobra nest might be fairly simple if it's in, because my understanding after being in Indonesia for a while was that sometimes they're just in people's backyards. So if they tolerate them, it's really easy to set up these cameras in places where you can access power and Wi-Fi. It's when you get off the grid where the challenges really arise.
All great things. Thank you so much, Emily.
Thank you.
Michael, there's a question in the chat about our venomous handling course, and I think maybe you can answer it.
Yeah, sorry, I was answering another question just now. Let me see where I can find it. We had a lot of questions coming up. Yeah, so there is a way for students to have a chance to work on the venomous handling certification program that we run, but most of our courses are based out of California. And so I see you're in the Central Valley. That's not too far from us. So I would say please reach out to contact@savethesnakes.org. But do want to also give a shout out because if you are based in the Central Valley, Emily Taylor does courses as well, which is another amazing option with a different set of techniques and theory. There are so many great opportunities to learn about venomous snakes, and do want to shout out to just other professionals that are doing this in a safe and professional way. And if you are out of state, we recommend the Rattlesnake Conservancy, who we partner with to offer their venomous handling certification course.
Okay, wonderful. I think we're about wrapping up now. I don't see any last minute questions coming in. Mostly just a lot of positive comments about the presentations today, and I could not agree more. It is incredible to see the work being done by our conservation partners, our supporters, our friends. Um, it's yeah, I mean, snakes are just really cool, and we love working on them, and we love that we can inspire people to work on them, to educate others about them, and to keep learning more. I mean, with over 4,000 species, there's so much more to learn. There's 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 so much to share. I mean, think about how much we're continuously learning about just one species. So with that, I'd want to say a huge thank you to all our speakers. Um, Please feel free to get in touch with us if you have any questions for them. They are always busy and doing the incredible work that they do, but I'm sure they will be more than happy to answer any questions that you have. And thank you to you, attendees. You have made this symposium fantastic, and we really, really hope that you continue to support us and continue to join us in our events in the future. If you have any questions, comments, or anything else that you'd like to get in touch with us about, feel free to send us an email, ping us on our Instagram, our social medias, and we'd be more than happy to help out wherever we can. And yeah, with that, have a happy World Snake Day, everyone. Thank you.